What's up? Hello. Welcome to my lovely card reveal. And I'm very grateful that again, Ravensburger let me reveal a card. This time it's a Sapphire Steel. We've gone up from the puppy card to a somewhat playable card. And I really like the look of it. I had to actually Google how to pronounce the name. I had to have Ali help me figure it out. But it is Rockfort, I think. Lock expert, 2 cost, inkable, 2/2, quest for 1. Has the ability safekeeping. When this character quests, you may put chosen item into player's inkwell, face down and exerted. Which overall just is pretty decent, I think, as well. I've been looking at these cards, and I think a lot of them probably were designed when Hiram was still around, and we were expecting a Hiram meta. But still, if you were playing this, of course, I'm going to look at this very much in the Sapphire Steel perspective, and I've also got some ideas about where to go the direction of Sapphire Steel in set 8 that I'll start doing in this video as well. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool, like especially if you had like say the Kiwi Bird build where you would have items down. Maybe you play your Porp turn 1 and you don't get a bell. You could get this out and quest and like start trying to get some ramp. But I think mainly what its thing is it's quite a offensive card. So you could even play this on 2, and say your opponent was going to play a quite an impactful card on 3, which of course the two I can think of are Workshop or Fishbone Quill. And if they were to play them, it's like, well, if you play it, it's instantly going to be removed next turn anyway. Of course, maybe they wouldn't mind being ramped, but it's kind of got that similar effect to what the Floodborn Jafar had, the 3 cost one, where you can kind of just threaten any item that gets played will get removed next turn. And there's also something about that in TCGs where you can be like, most people will be like, oh, if I play this, they might Benjamin me next turn. But like actually having it on board, the answer, could force them to play differently. Maybe force them to remove the thing instead of playing the item, or they just play the item into the answer, or they go and do a completely different route and play really off curve. So I think it's kind of cool. I think as well the fact that it's an ally really pairs with a lot of the ally stuff that's going on with Sapphire Steel right now. I think as well Ruby, what's it called? Not Ruby, sorry, Emerald Sapphire. Like I'm not a deck builder for that at all, but I think very much the Emerald Sapphire players would enjoy a card like this, just because mainly they don't really put bodies on board, and you could put this down, and it could be a way of ramping, say, of a Porp Score or whatever card you want. Play turn 1, and then getting a ramp and you're not hurting the hand size as much. You're kind of keeping the hand size alive. So yeah, overall I can see this card definitely being played in a few different environments week 1. I definitely want to play it. Whenever I get to a card reveal, I like to try find the um, card that I was lucky enough to reveal, like it was lucky last set. And every time someone opens a pack and gets the card out, I go, hey, that's one of the cards I revealed. Of course, had no game design into it or did any of the art, I just like to claim some sort of bit of history in it. So yeah, I think it's quite cool. And of course, when I'm going to be thinking about it, and when Ravensburger hand me these cards and we get to chat about it, of course, my first direction is Sapphire Steel with it. So going into like set 8 of Sapphire Steel, we've got some new tools for Kiwi birds, and I think that's pretty cool. I think the one that's interested me the most, and the one that had the most discussion is Bernard, which is the 2 cost. And I think it's because mainly Kiwi birds doesn't really have, besides the SME, there's like a locked 4x 2 cost. Our 2 costs are very much debated what they should be. Right now I commonly just use Calhoun. I don't really like using Calhoun, but it's kind of like the best of a bad bunch in my opinion. It's can do a lot into the aggro matchups. It can clean up. When it turns sideways, it will do 3 damage back. All of those amazing things. But overall, it doesn't quest for 2. It's uninkable. We don't get much value. Majority of players at this point know how to play around a what's it called, a Calhoun, and they won't play into it. The only thing you really have is against, say, a purple steel. You force them to play a 3 drop and sing strength on it, and against like Churner dogs, you get quite a lot of value out of it. But I could definitely see Bernard being there, just a way to kind of keep the hand a bit more alive and be like, and here's a character on board. And if we're not going to be getting like what do you call it, like more aggressive quested 2 drops, like we're not going to get another Smee, another 2 drop the quest for 2. We have Anna, that's what I see a lot making into his lists. Of course, it's made into mine a couple times as well. That Bernard just overall feels like he would provide quite a lot of value to that scenario. where you get a character on board, it will quest for one, and it would remove a SME. The 2/2 stats isn't amazing, but it's not the worst. But you get to draw another card if you have an ally in play. And of course, we'd have to look at including more allies. But I think that's a very interesting thing that in the last set, when they released all of the Jasmine, Aladdin, ally combo stuff, I was really excited about it because, of course, a lot of these color combos are just getting like these gimmicks, like the dual links are just being like a bit gimmicky. You've seen like the what's it called, like the puppy deck in Amber Sapphire, and we've yet to see that like kind of play at a competitive level. But I think a lot of the cards they got on there are great. But of course, on the flip side, you also got to see the Churner dogs, like the Lady and the Tramp stuff, which ended up being a completely viable and very good deck. So I don't see why the other color combos that have got these more like all of the dueling cards seem quite themed and quite fun, like a lot of the red steel stuff as well. Like it's themed about like Mulan and challenging and things like that. But like all of them, they're very much aimed to still be very competitive, viable. I think like even if it's just fun because it's Disney Lorcana, like everything they put in the game is like quite fun and like lighthearted and like its approach and its art and everything. And even yeah, you could use another example of Ruby Sapphire being its dual link cards have all been item based. They've all been like item control based, so they know very much what that wants. So I don't see why Sapphire Steel we couldn't try and use some of this Jasmine and Aladdin. There you go. It's a combo of the two characters together. Jasmine, yeah. But yeah, if you put them to, I think it's gonna be really fun to balance like how many heroes we want in there and how many allies we want in there because we have a lot of powerful allies with like Smee and Lawrence. We have a lot of powerful heroes right now, and most of the Kiwi Bird decks, like all of the one drops have reverted to being heroes again. But if you went to playing like allies like what's it called, like Happy and stuff like that, it wouldn't be uh that hard. And even later on in the game, like if you've Smeed on two, like imagine if your turn four was like another Smee and a Bernard or like double Bernard or whatever, and your hand size isn't shrinking, you're just being very obnoxious with the board, then you can play Cogsworth on top, and you can just keep drawing cards and cycling and doing a bit more work. So that's the card that's kind of intrigued me the most. Of course, there's only a handful of these have already been shown right now. Um, but with the Jasmine card, this is the card that intrigues me probably the second most. I think this is cool, and it's one I generally just want to test until kind of it's proven it doesn't work. Because when the ban happened for Hiram, the first thing I wanted to do was great, I get to try out this Jasmine Aladdin combo stuff. The 5 cost uninkable Jasmine just ended up not being amazing. Like you'd end up just wanting to play Tragic Beast or something anyway. The Aladdin being uninkable made him a bit more like you really had to fit him in there, and even still, like you need like a Lawrence in hand to really get the max value out of it. So maybe not looking at those cards, but altogether, maybe the sum of all the pieces might be a lot better. And with the Jasmine, we have more than one version of a one cost Jasmine that we could play, and then on two we could shift and we could quest for only for one. But what it would do is just end up giving us another ally type character on our hand. So you could get in the scenario where like I'm saying, because Bernard needs a one drop ally character out. Turn one, you play Jasmine, you quest, you shift it and you quest. You get your Bernard. Turn two, you play turn three, sorry, you play something like a Happy or a one drop ally, and then you play Bernard, and you've fairly not denting the hand size. You've got a fairly obnoxious board where you're kind of like, just going wide and just playing a lot of value. And her being a 2/5 just means that Fox can't really remove her. Um, that sadly a like Chernobog and a crab can. Um, but maybe at that point you've got so much value from basically drawing two cards from Jasmine and Bernard that it doesn't matter that much. Like you just take those matches, or maybe you could get Jasmine to sing "Let the Storm Rage On," and you could remove or she can even sing Zeus at this point. So I think there's just lots of interesting little things like that. Of course, the entire set isn't out yet. We haven't seen every card. The legendary got Ratigan. I think it's kind of cool for like a Sapphire Steel ramp deck, but maybe not for Kiwi, which is definitely what I'll be focusing in on for the first few weeks, because just the deck that I've been playing for so long now, and it's kind of got um, so much, just so much. I quite enjoy the deck as well. But if Ramp Sapphire Steel was back, and I've seen like Jonathan Lamb and like Jason Morales and I think not Morales, I can't remember the surname, but like loads of different of the kind of Sapphire Steel diehards like still playing the deck and still doing well. And like I keep seeing in store champs, it turns up like whole new world builds. So definitely it could be another set for Sapphire Steel Ramp to come back and perform quite well. But right now from these cards, there is a few that haven't made it onto Dreamborn just yet. It doesn't seem like for me there's many amazing things for the ramp deck, but for Kiwi, like I'm very intrigued to try some of these dueling cards. I think Burn is probably the best one we've got. Of course, Lady Cluck and a few of the other ones didn't end up being good enough to make it the cut for me. And then of course, yeah, the one we've revealed now, like we could be end up being this amazing deck where we don't have to ramp too high. We know we can get Cogsworth out and we're just double spelling so much because like, again, if you played Roquefort, I think that's how you pronounce it. Again, really bad at pronouncing French, I believe. I think the film's French. Aristocats. Um, but if you'd play this on four and then you'd play Bernard, you know, you would get like some card draw. You get two obnoxious 2/2s on board. You just start doing a bit more work, and you know, resource-wise, you'd be managing it, which is something that Kiwi doesn't really do right now. It doesn't have things that like Bernard, where it's just like, and here's some passive draw, which of course majority of the other quick decks do, like the purple steel builds are always like all their one drops, very likely to draw them a card as well. So if we were to have cards where we can play them and then we can also get a card draw, that'd be awesome. So yeah, I'm quite excited for set 8. I don't want to talk too much about Fabled because I'm more excited for that. I think a lot of Set 8 is prepping for the rotation that we're about to see in the next set's time, and this is not uncommon in card games where they'll just sort of release a set where I have this weird overlap where it's using cards from the previous sets and not as many cards from the and like because we're not into the next set yet, it won't be kind of that ready for it. But you can see like a lot of these cards are prepping for it, and I think there's a really exciting world where the Sisu, the 8 cost uninkable one, is rotated out, and we just get like a plethora of these like 2 attack things that just do very unique stuff, like the Jasmine, like 2/5. That's quite hard to invest into when you're playing in a meta where Sisu could be around. But the Sisu is sort of less and less played. But you know the whole effect of Sisu, Brawl, and Medusa and those sort of cards, hopefully. Being rotating out, and then we could see a lot of these characters. There was a lot of things. There's like Sisu the Water Dragon, the Sapphire card. Never really got to see play. It's going to rotate out now, and I pretty much never got to see play. And like my favorite card, Tiana, which was a 1/4 uninkable that when exerted no cards in hand, your opponent couldn't play any actions. Again, never really saw any play because it was just so dominated by very cheap and effective answers like Sisu and even the smaller Sisu, the 3 cost uninkable one. So I think yeah, overall it's going to look like a really bright future for the next 2 sets, and I'm very excited for it. And if you just came to look at this card, I don't know how you made it to the end of the video, me rattling on about set 8.